to enjoy. Now, we are going to get straight into this game, and we're going to see how this is going to go down. SAS versus Cognitive Deficiency. And we're going to see SAS up on the blue side, I believe. Yes, we got them on the blue side, and we'll have on the red side, we've got Cognitive Deficiency. So again, a slower start coming out from these teams.
Well, our blue side is going to be SAS. It's Swordcaster VR and Sir Chan Destroy. And then we've got Real Getsu and Win Epic representing Cognitive Deficiency. A bit of a slow start once again between our teams. This tend to be the way we've seen Factory play out, just because there's so many obstacles in the middle of the map to play with. It's kind of hard to get a good LOS onto at least one of these teams. We're going to find it, though. Swordcaster trying to move in there, ends up taking a little bit of heat. Backs away from it, though. Both teams end up taking a more passive route to this fight. They don't want to find themselves to be the team in the open here.
Mr. Swordcaster, you need to get me a sword kill. We're on Factory. This is the time you can get it done. Live up to your name. But the question is, will they let him get close enough to do it? Keeping very defensive at the moment. You can see him. Scans go out every now and again. They're getting as much information as possible, but no one wants to go in for that engage. And how many times have we seen it go down where the first couple of kills kind of dictates the pace of how the whole game goes in order of what weapons they can pick up, if they can get the armor, and how they can utilize their positions from here by pretty much jumping on them as soon as they've spawned. Now, the armor's going to pop in just a few seconds. Search and Destroy can wait for that to happen. Weapons getting changed up a little bit. He grabs it instantly, so that's going to give him a nice boost. And on these moments is when they can make a decision. Okay, do we now try and go in for it? Have we got enough to be able to challenge this?
He's got the slingshot to play with it, but both teams still just sitting back on opposite sides of the arena. Neither team wants to be the first one to push in here. It does look like Cognitive Deficiency are slowly making that push forward, and they've been able to build up shields this entire time. At least in the case of Sir Chan Destroys, he has not been able to do this in any way, but you can see them doing a nice amount of long-range chip damage to these players, slowly kind of working away at that. Swordcaster is the one here for Cognitive Deficiency, or excuse me, for SAS that's been able to build up a little bit more in terms of his shield. So he's got a little bit more fighting capabilities here, but Getsu's had enough of the waiting game. He's trying to push back in. He's trying to get them up close and personal against these players. Builds up a little bit more armor, too. It's going to be Swordcaster, of course, that takes points. He does have the extra HP to play with, but no! Sir Chan Destroy is caught out in the corner. We're the first to go down. An armor v armor fight now happening, and once again, it's our red squad, Cognitive Deficiency, that comes out on top of the fight with a clean wipe 2-0, taking about half the time out of the game before we see our first kills.
Yeah, that's the longest start we've had. And SAS, I think they made a big blunder there. You saw them going for the initial engagement, took the few shots, then they backed away, but it was only one player backing away at a time, which meant that they lost the player early on and ensured that you gave a big advantage to Cognitive now. Can they continue to do this, though? Not straight away. SAS are going to get involved. They're going to get in there. Can they get some more damage being done? Very nice start, but it wasn't anything to work with, as Cognitive do instantly reply. And once again, they've just got the loot, they've got the armor to work with, they're getting the weapons they want, and they can use this to a massive advantage.
Win Epic still holding the corner here now with Getsu. Now they have the advantage. They can play passively, especially with only 2 minutes left on the clock here. Can absolutely afford to take this type of a play style. Especially with a 3-kill lead. Even if they do end up getting wiped here, they're going to have a clean path to reset once again. As long as they don't lose one more of their players, they'll still be good. Win Epic will take a lot of heat, but so will one of the members of SAS here. Swordcaster, though, getting some great damage on the Getsu, takes him out. The trade comes in a moment later, though, from Epic, and now we are going to see Chandler just try to move himself away. He picked up a slingshot there to try and use that, and more importantly, just, I think, try to stop these players from chasing him down, which he is successful at that. They don't attempt the chase, but it was still only a 1-1 trade, so overall scoreline is still the same advantage for Cognitive.
And we've seen how popular in this higher level play the slingshot has been. The question is, are they going to be able to utilize it correctly here? And I think for at least Cognitive, they're going to be in a position now where they can wait for SAS to come to them. This time has already ticked down so far. This is the least kills we've seen in any game thus far, but it's being played so well from Cognitive here. SAS, they need to make a decision and start going for this. If they want to challenge it, you can't wait any longer. You need to go in for a fight, but you need to go together. This distance is just too much.
Easily the most passive game we've seen, but that's going to change up now. Getsu falling back, we're taking some initial damage. Win Epic in the open, trying to take the fight against Swordcaster and Sir Chan Destroy. You do have that slingshot throwing in projectiles, though, causing issues for these players. Swordcaster's trying to push through the broken wall on his own. Win Epic goes way too far into the open. Sir Chan Destroy picks up the kill there. Swordcaster looking for the second, gets it as he takes out Getsu. They're only 1 kill behind now, but the problem is they've only got 30 seconds left to make the impact.
Cognitive could just hide back, so SAS need to go on the hunt. Can they make this work? They've got a good amount of armor. They've got stuff to work with here, but only 15 seconds to go. This is going to go right to the wire. SAS on the hunt, looking around. Those scans are going to come in for sure as well, but it might not just have enough time. This could be 1 point of SAS just being, and this is exactly what they're doing. Cognitive chilling, not even going to move. SAS, they're going to be kicking themselves and wish they went for these fights a little bit earlier. Cognitive take it right by the wire.
By 1 point as well, just a single kill into their favor, but it does go Cognitive's way. The strong start from them winning those first 2 initial skirmishes started to kind of lose steam, though, in the process. As we were seeing, their opponents started to turn it around. SAS nearly managed to bring it back, but they were able to hold and spawn long enough, kind of delay, and even when they were finally thrown out onto the arena there, the time had pretty much expired, so no chance for SAS to find that one final kill they needed to either tie or take the lead away. So Cognitive are going to take map number 1.
Now, straight away, Blue, there is a massive disparity in how the EU players were playing and how the North American. Europe's super aggressive in all of their games, right? We're seeing high kill games, even high kill games on both sides on the second game we saw. This time around, we've seen both the American sides start off very slowly, keeping it controlled, relying on their pace to slow it down a little bit, because how many times have we seen it? The opening kills are the ones that kind of get away with it, right? They get a bit more control and they're able to utilize their position to a very advantageous position to work from there. And I really think now the SAS, if they're going to look at this, they need to just go in all guns blazing. You need to charge forward and fight back against that, because if they'd move even like 20 seconds earlier and to go into that initial engagement when they started to battle back, they could have been winning that.
Yeah, they have to try and bring that European playstyle to the table. Just bring the sword out, man. Just start rushing in. Just do it. I mean, we saw one player do it today, so just use it with the scan, it seems like, and you can make it work for sure. Need some guns on top of that as well. And unfortunately, it seems like it's so hard to creep up on a team because so many teams are going for that scan gadget right now just to kind of keep tabs on where their opponents are at. So that's going to be the difficulty here for SAS if they want to try to adopt a more aggressive strategy, is they're going to have to try and find a way to either split their players up while not leaving them totally exposed to just getting ganked 2v1, or come up with a more efficient way to directly push into that scan cone, but still, look for a way to sneak up on their opponents.
And I actually think what's very interesting is we just saw less of the scans being used by European players. You see the North American players straight off the bat, right? Scans going out early on, looking to go and see how much information they can get to work off of. So there are these slight little differences between both sides so far. And I'm sure as this continues to evolve, as we continue to grow the Space Junkies VR teams out here, we're going to be watching a lot of this kind of become a meta change and how it all works out.
Yeah, it's going to be cool to see. Like, obviously, there's probably some undiscovered stuff as well in terms of what's viable and what's not here. So there's probably still quite a few cool things the players haven't figured out that maybe the devs are waiting for the players to discover. So it's going to be fun to see how that, like you said, just the meta evolves here. This is literally like one of the first tournaments for the game here. It's the first official one for the VR League. We've only had the warm-up cups for the past few weeks as the game only came out about 2 weeks ago. So considering that, there's still a lot more room for players to experiment and learn new things. It is time, though, folks, it seems to jump into our second map, so let's head into it. It's going to be Absolute Zero. I think the first time we've played on this map today.
Yeah.
They're going to get themselves right out onto the field here. The timer starts instantly. Both teams going right out, and there we go. The cones will start flashing all over the place here to try to detect these players. It is going to be Swordcaster, and overall the entire team of SAS that does get the spot first onto the positions of Cognitive Deficiency, so they can start to move towards them, as SAS themselves have not been scanned out just yet.
So you'll see on this map, there's a lot of spaces to hide at the bottom, but once you go to the top, we're a lot more open in position. And straight away, we're seeing SAS start large and in charge. They get the first kill and the second one, and this is exactly the start I wanted to see from them. Fire back, come into it, and just assert your dominance here.
Swordcaster picking up the rocket launcher to be able to find that one. Catches his 2 opponents basically wide out in the open. Another great scan onto them, too. Caught them both. Should know exactly where they are, but they are also going to get tracked down this time, too. The problem, though, is that, again, the weapon advantage seems to favor Swordcaster and the rest of SAS pretty heavily right now with how quickly Swordcaster was able to tear those players apart, especially at range, too. If his enemies aren't going to be able to pick up like a plasma rifle or some other type of long-range weapon, Swordcaster's basically just going to be able to sit back and turn himself into a turret and just absolutely unload these rockets on his enemies there.
Yeah, this Hellfire launch can do some serious damage, but you've got to be accurate with it. You've got to put the pressure onto them. Slowly, Swordcaster working his way up. They don't want to allow themselves to be too far down the bottom, though, that it would allow Cognitive to just jump all over him.
They managed to pick up, it looks like, another launcher for themselves, too. So, Getsu trying to work with it right now. But in the open, those shots are hard to line up. Thankfully, he's got the pistol to use, too. Manages to pick up, I believe, both of the kills out of that fight. Great job by Getsu. Brings it back. The problem is he did lose his teammate in the process, so they are still going to be down by 1 frag.
Yeah, it does mean they'll struggle to get everything they want out of this, but they've put themselves on the board. They've managed to keep one alive and at least put the pressure back onto SAS. So 3 for 2, and already we're getting closer to more kills than what we saw in the first game.
Yeah, very much. It's not as divided, I think, as what we saw back in the factory, where there was so much room for players to just sit back in a corner and basically lock themselves in and wait for opponents to push them. There's a lot more open space, a lot more ways to flank your opponents on this map. So I think that's why it's not so conducive to the passive playstyle that we saw Cognitive Deficiency reaching towards in the last map.
You can see WinEpic just hiding around at the moment. Scans going out. They're going to wait to see if SAS are going to push up into them. But SAS, they've got the lead at the moment. The question is, do they want to stretch that lead any further, or are they going to wait for them to come to them?
I like what we're seeing from SAS too, where they're kind of hiding over here by the portals to be able to leap themselves to the other side of the map if the pressure gets a little bit too close for comfort on them. Just a nice little positional reset to allow them to engage on their own terms instead of letting Cognitive really commit themselves to the push. And look, it's worked well for them. Resetting, getting themselves into the open, a nice easy kill onto WinEpic. And the other player here is going to try to fall back. Looks like successfully for now, so only one more kill gets picked up here by SAS in the process. Swordcaster looking to turn things back around. No, SAS still picking up the frags at this point as they take out Getsu one more time, bringing him down and keeping SAS in the lead as we enter the last 2 minutes of the round.
Yeah, SAS starting to stretch themselves out a nice bit here. Epic's getting a lot of damage put his way. Will go down in the end, but he's got a teammate there on very close by. Shouldn't have been able to come in there. Didn't want to challenge it. I guess he thought they were too close. It might just be my eyes on looking at that and kind of seeing them all through the walls there, but I thought he might have had a chance to go for it considering how low one of the SAS players were. Will Getsu does finally go and be able to get one, spraying up onto the second one, but he can't make it work. SAS now with a very nice lead with 1 minute 20 to go, but it's just going back and forth. They're trading kills effectively here, and WinEpic going to heal himself back up and now try and get on the assault.
Move forward, he's going to bypass on the gun he just ran past right there. Continues to move into the open. Like we said, those SAS still very much, SAS still very much taking control of the lead at this point. And now they can take this passive stance. They can be the ones that kind of run away from combat a little bit and try to float around the arena, avoiding Cognitive Deficiency if they want to just run out the rest of this time. But there's still a 3-kill advantage. Even if we see Cognitive get a full clean team wipe here, which we haven't seen them do yet in this entire map, SAS can still sit and spawn for a little bit longer there and bide their time before running out into the open, denying Cognitive Deficiency of that ability to pick up the 3rd kill. They need to at least tie it.
30 seconds to go. You could get enough kills if you are really fast, but Cognitive would need to go now. We could be going to a 3rd and final map, which is something I certainly said I wanted to see, and SAS have stepped it up to make it B, but can they get the finish off here? Being chased down a little bit, lots of damage being done. Swordcaster under heavy pressure, just about manages to hang in there for a little bit longer, but they're still able to get the kill. 2 more needed for Cognitive, but 10 seconds to go. It's a very difficult decision to make on how they want to try and approach this. They're only going to have limited information, and it's not going to be possible.
Yeah, just not able to lock them down. Sir Chanistroy doing a great job of just dodging his enemies there and making sure that he stayed out of position to let the timer run down. So we see, for the first time, a map 3 is going to be in the cards between these two teams. Cognitive Resistance and SAS will go up against each other one more time in our 3rd and final map.
I'm happy to see a 3rd map. We saw it be nice and competitive there. And overall, SAS gave them a taste of their own medicine there, especially towards the end. It's like, hey, look, we got the lead. We can just wait. You guys got to come to us. You got to chase us down.
Yeah, absolutely. Overall, just a much better opening initiation for what we saw there from the SAS guys that time. Cognitive, unfortunately, came out on the back end of that and then struggled to turn it around for the entire rest of the map themselves. They still did a good job of skirmishing. They were still doing a great job of fighting after that point, but the problem was with the advantage in their opponent's favor and almost always losing at least one player in the fights they took, always seemed to keep them ahead by 1, 2, or 3 kills, and as such, just with how slow-paced the game overall was, there just wasn't enough time for them to get the frags needed to get back into it, although it did seem like they were starting to take control again towards the end of the match.
And that's the thing, right? It's either first to 15 or the most points or most frags as the timer starts to tick down. And these players need to keep their eyes on that timer all the way through, because if it gets to a minute left and you're really far behind, it's getting really difficult for them to try and catch up. It's going to be a real tough job on your hands to make that happen. And I think really when you're looking at it and how some of the teams are playing it, they are constantly looking. They are being smart, because one thing I want you guys to look at next time around, on the top right of your screens, you can see the voice comms, right, of when they're actually talking to each other. And communication, especially in a team-based game like this, is so key, because you might be under 5 fire and you need your teammate to come around and sideswipe, help you out a little bit, do some extra damage, communication is going to be the key to success across this, especially as we get deeper into this. And that's where you'll start to see the teams who maybe have a bit more broken communication, they struggle to relay the information correctly, they'll struggle a lot more than the teams who have been very effective with it.
Yeah, guys, well, once again, round number 3 here, map number 3 between these two teams is coming up in just a few moments. We're going to stick with you, of course, during the process. We're just working on resetting up the lobby in a moment. And then as soon as we've got everybody back in and the vote has concluded, we found ourselves on the right map. It's time for one final battle. We've had 2 somewhat one-sided battles, oftentimes the first fight determining who ends up winning the match. One going for SAS, another going for Cognitive. Now it's time for that third and final battlefield to be played and decide who's going to take the win here today.
And this is what it comes down to, right? It's like, okay, you've both had one where you've done all right. You've both had a similar play style as well across all of it. Is anyone going to change it up last minute? Because you could potentially surprise the other team and go super aggressive, just challenge them straight off the bat and be unrelenting. Push them into a box, and every time they respawn, just be on top of them. Don't allow them to gain any ground. Don't let them get the pickups. Don't let them get the weapons they want. Just stay on top of them, because sometimes you can be over passive.
Yeah, and this is the interesting thing as well about the way the format works is these guys actually don't have a whole lot of opportunities to prove themselves and make their points up on the board. It's only 3, weekly, it's only 3 weekend-long play days here where they're going to play on both Saturday and Sunday. So they don't have a whole lot of opportunities to make their mark, considering it's just a 3-week preliminary season before it leads into the playoff cups. So teams have to make sure that they come into these cups strong. They're not making any kind of rookie mistakes and whatnot here. Obviously, it's a new game, so rookie mistakes are almost certainly going to happen, but you have to try to minimize them at most as possible. But just because of the very short season and how much one lost match, especially a detrimental considering you're playing multiple matches per day. If you kind of lose your momentum early on in the day and end up losing another match as a result of that, it's going to be very bad for your overall season standings.
When I was first playing it, right, one of the main things I saw people do is where they push down and they go for the nice speed boost, go as fast as possible, and then it's like, oh no, I need to quickly turn, and they just crash straight away. We're not seeing those kind of mistakes being made here, and that means that these guys have put in a lot of time, because the movement is the most key factor in this. We watch some of these teams, they run away from each other and stuff like that, end up getting chased down, and it becomes very awkward at times. But we're here, we're on Dark Ice, it's the decider, it's the third and final map. Who's going to take this one home?
Well, let's find out. Both teams, again, starting off passively, going to be routing themselves around the map, looking for weapon pickups until they have the optimal loadout they need. Looks like 2 slingshot pickups. I think it's it's 2 slingshot pickups, but it's all being held by Win Epic right now as he's taking control of it. The second one was ditched, left into the open. I don't know if Sir Chandestroy is going to go for the pickup on that. It looks like he might have it at the moment in his inventory, so I think both are going to try to play at range with that here. Much bigger map it seems like Black Ice is going to be. A lot very corridor heavy too. A lot of very long hallways with a big central area in the middle to play off of here. So both teams is doing their scouting work right now. SAS is already locked down as to where Getsu at minimum is, but they're all going to start floating towards that central zone in the open, and this could be a great ganking opportunity for SAS if Cognitive Deficiency are careful.
It's with that waiting game now. Who's going to strike first? No real changes, right? They've gone for exactly the same style of play. Who's going to make the first mistake? We're going to try capitalize on that. No aggression being had as Win Epic gets a shot fired off towards him. A lot of damage being done, and we'll need to try and regain that health as quick as possible. Getsu comes out to give him some backup. Swordcaster's getting involved in the fight. It's not looking good for him, and he's going to be the first one to go down. Cognitive Deficiency, they start off strong. They get this opening kill, but can they get the second one?
Long-range fight being taken here now by Win Epic, who's working, doing massive amounts of work with the LMG there, is able to move in and take out Search and Destroy. So it's 2-0 start here for Cognitive. They're going to be able to push ahead early on. Like we said before, that opening fight in the last 2 maps had seemed to have been a determining factor in who was going to close out the map, but no, one of the members of SAS just rolls right up on a member of Cognitive and rips him to shreds with a shotty.
That was beautiful. He literally just picked up that shotgun as well, walked straight into him, bam, one shot and done. More damage being done here, though. Cognitive trying to hold on strong to it, but Swordcaster pulls out the shotgun, and he is loving life close range. He's doing all the damage. SAS have come alive, and they're saying, hey, we're not going to give this to you easily.
Just taking the lead now as well as Swordcaster is able to get another one with the shotgun pickup, able to move in and take out Win Epic. With some great usage we saw there a moment ago as well as to why the shield can be useful, as it did block a whole lot of the damage that would have come in from the slingshot, and it was what allowed SAS to commit to such a heavy fight against Cognitive right there. So SAS now in control. Cognitive seems to have backed up slightly. Getsu's okay to take a fight, but his teammate's not too keen on it. Is a little bit split up from Getsu right now. He's got to be careful if Getsu ends up engaging. Make sure that he can back up and confirm the trade if Getsu ends up in a disadvantageous position.
These shotgun plays. I said about it, long range, obviously a shotgun is not ideal, but on a map like this and how close quarters it seems to be able to get here, especially in these little corridors, it can get very interesting. Real gets you out in the open, but again, the shotgun comes into play. Swordcaster, he is doing it, and he is doing it well. WinEpic's the next to go down, and SAS are taking a big lead, 5-2, and this is a big contrast in playstyle, right? Depending on the map, what weapons are being used, the shotgun, we have not seen it used this much at all yet.
No, we haven't at all, but players are using it now to close the gap. And on top of that, the slingshot is finding a whole bunch of use specifically for SAS in this matchup right now. Gets you trying to work at range once again with the LMG here. He's got a lot of ammo to work with, but he's got to be careful as it gives you a pretty just kind of standstill play style. And the problem is with the slingshot being so prominent for his opponents, I feel like it's going to be very easy to line up shots on that slingshot against him if he's going to continue to kind of float at slower speeds to be able to aim properly with that gun.
And the crazy thing about the shotgun, right, it's called the biopump, and it's on firing. It basically sprays a green biochemical fluid. And what we can end up seeing, the faster the player pumps it, the faster it can fire up to a point. So that's how quick he can get there with the action. That's why it's working so well. So they start firing off and get the initial engagement. And then as soon as he's close enough, he just pulls it out and instantly, bam, managing to get it done.
Oh, we are going to see Swordcaster sneaks right up on the members of Cognizant. It's going to try to go for the 1v2, but no. This is where this weapon shines here. Forgetsu turns it back around, picks up 2 kills on his own regard, and now they sit just 2 more away from tying it up against SAS. Problem is, again, time's going to start to get incredibly low. We're entering the last 45 seconds now, and they need to get a clean team, but they cannot allow SAS to trade any more of these kills against their favor.
Getsu could be saving Cognitive here. 30 seconds, 2 kills to find it. They want to try and at least even it up. They need to go in really now, thick and fast with this, and manage to make it happen. The 30-second call comes in, and it's all going to be down to what Cognitive can do. It's about finding your enemy and understanding what position they're going to be in and how to take this engagement. Damage already being done. They've managed to start the first opening kills, and Cognitive, they are not giving up. Shotgun comes out. He's trying to make it land. Also gets the slingshot out. Can't get the kill in, but WinEpic's there to help him out. 6-5, 10 seconds to go. SAS just need to hide.
Sword Chandrix is hiding very, very close to where these players are positioned at, though, on Cognitive. He's trying to run away from it. He's trying to avoid it. Seems to have been jumped on, but no, the time is not going to be enough. They cannot find the mark on the damage, so SAS will take control by 1 frag and take the series with it at 2.